Before we move on to the other extreme, I want to talk about the extremes of not having sex.
I do as well.
Very quickly, we've all heard the term incel, and if we haven't, that would be involuntarily celibate. That is what that term means. It was coined in 1997 by a woman named Alana, originally hoping to foster a community of folks who were chronically lonely, chronically sexless, who were feeling isolated and hurt. And then
that sounds lovely.
It does sound lovely, and then it turned really not lovely. And incels have become a very specific straight male community of folks who genuinely believe that they are not just being deprived of, but they are entitled to what they are being deprived of, which is sex and love from women. And as a result, there's a lot of misogyny thrown around in those rooms. There's a lot of sort of, it's so strange because it's sort of like, you use the word idealistic and you think like dream. But it's sort of like nightmarishly idealistic. Yeah. Women aren't really ever referred to as women. They're referred to as other really horrible names.
Give us some of the names. We gotta do it.
Femoid is one of them. Femoid is like one of the least offensive. And then there's another one that's pretty offensive. Women who have a lot of sex, because there's a widely held incel belief that like if you are having sex with one man, your vagina stays intact. But if you're having sex with multiple partners, your vagina becomes like roast beef. So they call them roasties. Silence for roasties.
Yeah, just like
disgusting. That said, they also ironically uphold the beauty standard, and that was the other part of not having sex for me. Is like really just like taking the white man out of my head who was telling me I wasn't cute and being like, wait, I am my own beauty standard.
Oh, I know her. That I know that as well. That was an important thing that I had to do as well.
Being like, you know what? No. Actually, I am my own beauty standard. Good night.
Yeah.
That said, incels tend to uphold said patriarchy, and they are of all races. There's a lot of racism and transphobia and misogyny interweaved into incel culture. And, you know, they categorize everybody as like either a Chad or a Stacy. Stacy's got like big tits and a big ass and like doesn't have to work a day in her life and is the ideal. And Chads are tall and have huge dicks and like are super sexually active. And on top of that, in there is like eugenics language, like crazy language about like wrist size and skull size. Incels have different skull sizes in their mind. Like it's weird. It's insane. So all of that to say that now we've also experienced like a lot of violence being attributed to that community, specifically that guy in Toronto a couple years ago. And I think that not every incel is violent, but
say it again. Not every incel is violent. That is not what we are saying. Because I think it's important to recognize also that like if the numbers are going down, if we're in, as you called it, the great American sex drought, then like incels are inherent. Like those people are just essentially they have to exist. That is an unavoidable reality.
Right.
But what hopefully is avoidable is those people being violent.
Yes.
And or hopefully like villainizing women and using phrases like roasties, which it was visceral. I didn't love that.
Right. And then, you know, you've got Chads and Stacys, and then you've got Normies, who are women who are not Stacys, Normies and incels. And the Normies and the incels don't want the Normies. The incels want to be able to have and expect to be able to have, and then are also fatalist about having any sort of sex and love relationship with a Stacy.
Right. And let's just be clear again. Sorry, maybe you said this and I missed it because I was thrown by some of these words. But again, the woman doing the math meme, like that's me today. But you know, incels are celibate not by choice.
Yes, involuntarily celibate. Now, the other side of this, which is a little more hopeful and a little more light, is femcels are coming back. Now, these are women who are experiencing involuntary celibacy, and their community is very different than the straight male incel community. Their community is really geared to self-love because a lot of them are from marginalized communities and are experiencing, I would say, rejection based on that marginalization. Yeah. And so as a result, a lot of them are bonding over not feeling like they fit into the beauty standard, not being chosen and choosing themselves and choosing each other and trying to foster a safe and healthy understanding of sex and love through a little bit of trauma bonding, I will say, but still through community. And I think that's something that's super, super beautiful. Now, we've talked about the extremes of not having sex. We've talked about not having sex. Not having sex is a choice, or sometimes it's not. Do whatever you need to do.
It's okay.
Now let's talk